I don't think we've mentioned for a couple of months. Anyway, the French car maker Peugeot Citroen once again centre stage. They're set to sign off a huge new investment in the company a little bit later on, aren't they, Steve?
Yes, badly needed. The company's supervisory board meeting later this Tuesday. They're expected to formally sign off on a plan which will see the Chinese car maker Dongfeng take a 14% stake in the company for around 800 million euros. Now, the news agency Reuters is reporting that that deal was signed off at a board level last night. We'll get official confirmation when the company publishes its results tomorrow. The French state will also be taking an equal 14% stake in the company, this after a promise from ministers that they would keep the company a French company, as it were. The deal will also see the Peugeot family reduce their stake from the current 25 to the same level as the French government and Dongfeng. All in all, it's an injection of around 3 billion euros for the car maker. That's good news after its sales fell by just under, in fact, 5% last year. We don't know yet how that's affected their earnings. Those full details are going to be announced in their company results tomorrow.
Big story, having an impact on the markets, I suspect.
Yeah, well, shares in Dongfeng have actually been suspended before trading in Hong Kong this morning. We don't have official reasons as to why that is. It could be to do with the Peugeot Citroen deal, but it may also be to do with a $700 million lawsuit that a Brazilian company that had a joint venture with Dongfeng is now taking against the company. Both the Hang Seng and the Kospi are trading quite flat. Shares in Shanghai are in the red too. Elsewhere in Asia, news from the Bank of Japan that it was maintaining its accommodative monetary policy has cheered shares there. The Nikkei closing up 3%.
Now we've got another company for you that's moving on the markets this morning. It's the world's biggest mining firm.
Yes, BHP Billiton reporting half-year profits of $8.1 billion as the company cut costs to combat falling commodity prices. That's 83% higher than the profits the company had reported for the same period in 2012. The Anglo-Australian firm's shares were up over 2% in trading in Sydney this morning.
Let's come back to France, shall we? President Hollande has been rolling out the red carpet for foreign investors. We talked about this yesterday. What actually came out of it then? Yeah,
well, he hosted these 34 executives at the Elysee for the imaginatively titled Attractiveness Council at the Elysee Palace. Of course, he was trying to convince those business leaders that France was a good place to do business. Let's take a look at some of the measures that he announced during that meeting. He said that he was going to create a fast-track visa process for foreign investors to be able to come to France. Reducing it to 48 hours is what was promised. He's also promised less red tape for businesses, in particular to give them more predictability on tax, to ensure that taxes wouldn't increase. This, of course, being a major complaint from foreign companies in recent years. They come in with taxes at one level, but they've continued to increase. And he also announced a series of grants of up to €25,000 to foreign startup companies who wanted to come to France to create jobs. Well, let's take a listen to the reaction of some of the executives who listened to these plans being unveiled by the French president.
I trust that the climate will improve. It should. France is successful and wants to remain successful.
Taxes are a problem, but there has been a major commitment today to re-look and to make the regime friendly.
To Italy next, where Matteo Renzi is set to begin coalition talks later to form a new government for Italy. Italy's borrowing costs fell to an 8-year low after the news that he was set to become the country's next prime minister, but he has a steep hill to climb to reform the Eurozone's third largest economy, as Oliver Farry now explains.
Matteo Renzi is the bright new hope for Italy, but the man expected to be the next Prime Minister has a big task to turn around the country's ailing economy. The 39-year-old sees himself as a centre-left reformist in the Tony Blair mould, and he intends tackling the task head-on. Italy, the Eurozone's third biggest economy, has just emerged from its longest recession since the Second World War. Renzi has laid out plans for reforms over his first 100 days. There will be a shake-up of the tax code, and he also intends to make Italy's rigid labour market more flexible and cut the 12% unemployment rate. Renzi will be hampered by deals he'll have to cut with centre-right coalition partners, but he also faces a country that's already fatigued by several years of austerity.
Renzi promised a brand new government with young people, but it has to come to terms with a new political reality. I mean, political parties, financial centres, and I think he's going to change his mind about it.
The markets are already responding with some optimism. The yield on Italy's 10-year bonds fell to its lowest level in 8 years Monday. This follows Moody's decision last week to upgrade its rating of Italy's sovereign debt outlook from negative to stable.
That's the business. That's Stephen talking about Italy in business. Going to go over there now, talk about France with Flo. We've got the French news.